Good morning. I am doing a video on the unboxing and installation of an Orca closed cooling system for a Volvo Penta 5.0 GI. I'm doing this video primarily because I found a hole in YouTube. I wish this video already was on YouTube, but it's not. So I'm gonna put it on YouTube for your enjoyment. Hey, you know, I'm figuring this out at the same time as you guys are watching this. So I've never put one of these things in before. I'm told by the company that it's pretty simple. It's about as technically difficult as putting in a water pump. So, you know, I can do that. So I figure I can do this. So I just opened the box just enough to get the directions out and take a quick look at the directions. But basically, this is exactly how it comes. It's really nicely packaged. So if I set the directions aside, you've got this foam-filled packing, really nice. And then it also has the same foam-filled packing on the bottom. So it's here goes the the hoses you're gonna need. The heat exchanger is in there, and this is honestly how I got to their company. Was I saw a YouTube video, another YouTube video, and the guy who was filming it didn't say anything at all during the video, but he just so happened to pan past the data plate. So that's where I paused the video, I zoomed in on it so I could see the data plate a little better. I saw that it was Orca Marine. So I called them, talked to Steve, and very cool people, really responsive, and I told them what I had. They asked me to take a picture of the front of my motor, and so I took a picture of the front of my motor, sent it to them, and then 4 weeks later, they told me that it would have a lead time of about 4 weeks. So about 4 weeks later, I got this box in the mail, and it cost me a little on the north side of $2,100. But I've been looking for this kit for a long time, and I haven't found it. So thanks to the guy who at least panned past his heat exchanger to where I could see the Orca Marine data plate on it. So I appreciate that, even if the guy doesn't give any information on how to install the thing or any of that other information I would have liked. It would have been handy. Anyway, so here goes the heat exchanger. Let's set this aside carefully. I've got hoses. I've got brackets. I've got a thermostat and some big thick zip ties. It looks like part of a thermostat housing here. But again, I haven't gone through this. I'm going through it with you guys. We've got maintenance and cleaning information. And then I've got a warranty registration card that I will definitely fill out and send in. Another bag here. See what's in it. You guys can fast forward if you want. The thing about this video is that you will have the advantage of having being able to watch the edited version of this. And in the beginning of it, I will try to put all the tools that I used, and so you won't have to quite figure it out every step of the way, and you'll be able to fast forward through quite a bit of it. Here goes a radiator cap and filler tube, and more bracketry. I'm going to put this back in bag 4 because obviously the directions are going to tell me to refer to bag 4 at some point or another. And if I start taking stuff out of the bags, I won't know which bag is which. It'll be like IKEA experiment gone bad. So here we got bag 1, and that's got hose clamps, Ooh, so this almost looks like a PEX adapter. It's not, but it looks like it. Anyway, hardware, another hose, and a box of a reservoir. This is a coolant reservoir. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this stuff back in the box so we can get it in the boat, and let's go to the boat. Cool. All right, so this is a Volvo Penta 5.0 GI engine, basically small block Chevy. So this application should be fine for the 350. You know, many applications, any application that uses a small block Chevy, which is a lot of engines. Plus, it'll also be real similar to a lot of other applications, inline sixes and stuff like that. Basically, the same kind of installation, slightly different kit, but basically the same idea. So anyway, what this engine is in is a 1968 Bertram Bahia Mar 20, and you know, this boat's been with me since I was around 10, and so you know, I love this boat to death. It used to have an inline 6 Mercruiser in it, and Dad replaced that in about 2000 with this motor, and so we're trying to keep this motor in as good condition as we can because it's been a lake boat since Dad put this motor in. Okay, so what I'm working with today is, of course, the directions. I'm going to try to follow the directions step by step as much as possible. What I'm also working with here is this gear wrench kit. This kit is brand new, so it's not missing a single thing. If you guys ever watch Project Farm, man, those are great videos there. I highly recommend the channel Project Farm, and he does a thorough review of all these different toolkits. When he did a review on this one, I wanted to give it a shot. So the only thing that I've changed about this kit is in the screwdriver section, which is here. So it comes with, of course, a regular screwdriver, and then all the bits like a lot of these kits do. But it has a lot of flat tip screwdriver bits. I don't need that many flat tip screwdriver bits. I hate flat tips anyway. But what I do need in this kit is square tips, because this boat is full of square tips. So I took one of my square tips and replaced one of the flat tips with that, and that's the only thing that's different about this kit than one that you might get. I got this at Home Depot, and it looks like a pretty nice kit, and according to Project Farm, it was put together really well. I have a couple other pieces and parts here just to get me by for a little bit. I've got a hammer, I've got a couple pairs of pliers, and a gasket scraper, and a wire brush. Hopefully I've got everything I need. If I don't, the garage is right there, so I'll go get it. All right, well, the first thing on the directions, let's read the directions together, huh? Number 1, disconnect the battery before working on any engine. Drain and flush the cooling system according to your owner's manual. Remove all the hoses at the thermostat housing. Okay, we'll start by disconnecting the battery, and we'll get into the rest of number 1. I'll put on some gloves, and you guys aren't going to be able to see the battery from right there where the camera is, but disconnecting the battery should be a pretty simple process. I mean, easy peasy, battery's disconnected. I just pulled the positive terminal off. That was it. And my boat, that was 10 millimeter. Your boat will probably vary when it comes to that. Okay, what's the next step? It said drain and flush all the cooling system according to the owner's manual. I'm sure that's talking about the plugs on the side of the block. I believe that this block has got 2 plugs, one on either side of it. Remove all the hoses at the thermostat housing. Okay, so here goes the thermostat housing here. It's got a whole bunch of hoses coming onto it, and so I'll grab that screwdriver. And a lot of times, that's the right size. This is not one of those times. try a 6-in-1. See if that's the right size. Close enough. There it is. So 6-in-1 screwdriver is nice, as you guys probably know, because you can use just the end, or there are different sizes on either end, so makes it nice. All right, so I work with my tools, so I happen to leave my chain locks at work, which wasn't very good. So I had to fight these hoses a little bit more than I would have, so I just did it off camera. I also took this back panel off too. This is boat dependent, so you guys are probably not going to have this panel. If you do have a 1960s, early 70s Bertram, you probably know how to get that panel out anyway. So I didn't cover, it's just pulling these screws out. It's super easy. Anyway, I got these hoses off, and but I had to do it with a pry bar, and it was a little bit more of a pain in the backside to get them out without a pair of channel locks. Usually with channel locks, you just put the channel lock on there nice and you don't want to grip it down, but just enough to give it a little bit of a wiggle this way and that, and it just pops them right off super easy. So here goes my hoses. I'm going to push the hose clamps down on them so I'm not losing them. And there goes. I've got, looks like I had 1, 2, 3, and the small one on top, and then 4 bigger ones. Now I've got an electrical connection. I'll pop that free. Of course, I'm going head on the directions like I shouldn't, but there you go. I'm popping that electrical connection free sensor. So let's see. It says remove all the hoses at the thermostat housing. Discard the 1 3/4 inch hose, the 1 3/4 and the 1 1/4 inch hoses, and leave the 3/4 inch hoses attached to the exhaust manifolds. Remove the sending unit in the thermostat housing and save for replacement. Remove and discard the thermostat housing and the thermostat. I'm not going to discard it because I don't throw anything out. Clean the gasket surface on the intake manifold and temporarily place a rag in the opening. Okay, so nice thing about this gear wrench kit is it comes with a lot of sizes that like 18s and stuff like that a lot of other wrench sets don't have, which I really like. So this is a 19 millimeter. There it is. Box on side's the ticket right there. So pop that out. And there it is. Set that aside. I need a magnetic bowl. Anyway, set that aside for now. Then looks like just 2 bolts holding that housing in. Let's try those. Okay. 15. And of course 14. 14 is the ticket. This comes with an extension, couple extensions, which is also nice. You got 3/8 inch extensions. I don't think I need the long one. I'll go with a shorter 3/8 inch extension. There it is. Now it's on there though, huh? Get it off when it's out. This stuff. There we go. Okay. There's one. Oh, that was much easier. Okay. That's a short one. And then oh, that was nice. Huh. Thermostat's up in there, huh? All right, I don't don't know how you ever replace that thermostat. You got to replace the whole housing, looks like, on that one. But I don't know. This is the first time I've had that part out. And then I've got my gasket scraper. Alright, so welcome back. I did a couple things while you were gone. One is I cleaned this up a little bit better. And I was honestly pretty happy with the fact that I haven't drained the water out of this block because, you know, there was so much garbage from the gasket material and stuff like that in the water that was right there. I just grabbed the shop vac, made it really easy. Just sucked that water out of there and clean all that garbage right out of there. So so far I'm pretty happy with my choices. So here goes a rag. I'm stuffing in there, keep any kind of my tools and so on out of the block. That's a good idea. So that went right in right after I cleaned that out. Then it said to remove the 1 3/4 inch, and so I grabbed myself a tape measure and I said 1 3/4 inch. Well, let's see, that's got to be inside the diameter we're talking about. So the inside diameter of that is 1 3/4 inch. That's that pipe, and that one is coming off of right here on this side of this water pump. We've got, of course, 2 water pumps on this boat. We've got the water pump for the engine, and then you've got the impeller that pulls the water out of the lake, and so that one's off the bottom of the water pump. So set that aside with the hose clamps on it. Now I've got this one. It also said to remove the 1 1/4 inch hose, and so here goes the 1 1/4 inch. I got to stretch it a little bit to get exactly 1 1/4 inch out of it, but that one does come off the bottom of the impeller. So this one's coming off the bottom of the impeller, and it says to leave the other 2 hoses, the 3/4 inch hoses that go to the manifolds, attached. So there goes those 2 attached. Now I'm on to, and so far I've used an 8mm socket. I've used a 1/4 inch socket. I've used a 14mm socket with a 6-inch extension. I've used a 19mm wrench, and I've used that was the box end wrench to get the temperature sensor off of the thermostat housing. So far those are the tools that I've used. Now I'm going on to step 2. Carefully remove the wire clip that holds the sensor to the fuel pump, and then carefully disconnect the sensor. So here goes the sensor. It's on the back side. Well, here's the fuel pump, of course. We know that because the fuel filter is right below it. So here's the fuel pump, nicely protected with this yellow deal. And there's the sensor on the back side of it that's got this wire clip, and it's just nothing but just pop the wire clip off. It's really easy. Here goes the wire clip. Oh, another thing I did while you were gone was I got myself a magnetic tray, which is going to be handy. So then once you pull that wire clip off, that sensor just slides out as easy as butter. I wish all electrical connections on vehicles were that easy. So this says put that to the side. I'm going to push that out of the way, so it's out of the way now. So it says, carefully remove the wire clip that holds the sensor to the fuel pump, and then carefully disconnect the sensor. Fold the wire out of the way. Caution, fuel may be under pressure, on this next step. Disconnect the fuel supply hose from the top of the fuel pump, including the large adapter that threads into the top of the pump itself. Remove the 2 flange bolts that hold the fuel pump / filter to its bracket. Temporarily set the pump aside and save the rubber grommet for on the top for reuse. All right, so we're talking about this deal here, which is underneath that yellow thing. Hopefully you can get that. I want to thank my lovely wife for filming this for me. Thank you. So here goes the fuel supply line that is supposedly under pressure. So I'm not wearing safety glasses, which I should be, but I'm gonna kind of crack it a little bit and then close my eyes. There it goes. Close my eyes. Close my mouth. Take a little peek. I don't think it's under pressure. I think it's fine. Okay. So not under pressure. It's been a little while since this boat's run. So set that aside for now. Then I take it we're talking about these bracket bolts here. Let me read that again. Oh, that was, sorry. I used a 16 millimeter on this part here, 16 millimeter, and then the bottom part was a little larger. I was a little larger than my gear wrench set. So I had to get a 22 millimeter from the garage. So that's a 22 millimeter there and a 16 millimeter here. Oh, I see. There are 4 bolts, but it looks like the bottom 2. Oh, no, maybe we're talking about these 2 back here. Yep, my bad. I'm glad I looked at that. So there's 4 bolts here on either side, just above the fuel filter. But then if we look further back, behind all that, there's 2 bolts. So, and that looks like, with those 2 bolts removed, the whole thing, that whole apparatus comes off. So let's see what size that is. That is, of course, smaller than a 16. I tell you, I like to set these aside for a second until I get both of them out, because 9 times out of 10, well, let's see, 6 times out of 10, there's 2 different size bolts. So if you want to compare them side by side before you put them into some sort of a bowl. Yeah. So just now, with if I had just gone at those first 2 bolts I saw, then I would have been I would have had to take it all apart. But these 2 bolts in the back, these are the same size. So now I'll set those in the bowl. And this thing, there's some wires holding it. Oh, wow. All kinds of wire in here. It looks like this breaker is holding it, but I'm just going to push it out of the way, get this one out of there. Nicely done. All right, whatever. We'll fix that later. I guess that should have just slid out, huh? Well, I'm not a mechanic, carpenter. So anyway, I'm just going to set this out of the way for now. Hopefully that's out of the way enough. I guess we'll see here in a minute. Okay. So so far I've used a 16 millimeter wrench. I've used a 22 millimeter wrench. And I've used a 15 millimeter wrench. All right. Temporarily set the pump aside, save the rubber grommet on the top for reuse. Rubber grommet. Oh, you guys see a rubber grommet? I see a rubber grommet. I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, was that supposed to come out too? Oh, including the large adapter that threads into the top of the pump itself. So yeah, that's exactly it. So there goes your 22 millimeter wrench again. And, yeah. Oh, that felt like it went. There we go. I must have tightened it up a little bit. There we go. So easy. This guy off the top of that guy. Put this in the bowl. Rubber grommet. See, directions are cool sometimes. Sorry, don't take my man card away from me because I'm following directions. But this grommet, the grommet is in fragile shape, so it wants to rip. It wants to rip. So I'm going to try to be very careful with it. Easy. I don't know why that's coming out of there, but it's going to be a pain in the butt to get back in there. But they say, take it out. Take it out. Gosh. Don't rip. Why are you being such a pain in the butt? Okay, rubber grommet. Did see it split some, which is no good, but we'll be real careful with that guy. I don't know why we had to take that out. It doesn't look like it gave us any movement with that thing, but hey, I'm following directions. All right, here we go. So we're on step 3. Remove the flange bolts, holding the bracket and the lifting eye. I thought the lifting eye came out. Oh, this guy. Here goes the lifting eye. Is that the flange bolts they're talking about? Oh, it looks like I only got one of them in there. Flange bolts holding the bracket and the lifting eye. The bracket and flange bolts will be discarded, but save the lifting eye. Oh man, are they talking about this bracket? I guess we'll find out. So I'll take the lifting eye out, which is that guy there. I think that's still that 15. Looks like the same size. You guys see that? Maybe that's a 14. That 15 seems awful loose. Maybe I'll try a 14 again. 14 didn't seem like it fit, but you know that paint, sometimes the paint is, the paint gets in your way. And this, as far as I know, none of this stuff has ever been taken apart, so that paint is still, no, that is not a 14. I'll go back to 15. Maybe we'll try a 9/16. They're right there. I love it how these motors go back and forth. Yep, 9/16 fits like a glove. So 9/16 is, just discard all the stuff I said about 15s and go with a 9/16 because 9/16 is the answer. Okay, said lifting eye. I'm just going to set this on the bottom of the boat for now. Here goes this flange bolt. Set that aside. Notice how it is different than the other flange bolt that I just took off. It's shorter. So that's a shorter one. Okay. All right, so we're back. So what I've done here was this fuel pump assembly was really difficult to get out of the way enough. So I took the fuel pump, the fuel supply line to the gas. From the gas tank. So here goes the fuel line from the gas tank. I popped that off, and so then I was able to get this right out of the way. So now the directions say, I'm on number 3. Remove the flange bolts holding the bracket and the lifting eye. So here's the lifting eye. So I took the bolts holding the lifting eye out and pulled the lifting eye off. The bracket and flange bolts will be discarded, but saved the lifting eye. So I don't know whether we're talking about this bracket. I'm not really sure yet what bracket we're talking about yet, but we're saving the lifting eye. And it denotes the picture here in the directions. So if I flip to the picture, the first picture, here goes the first picture, and there is this same bracket. One thing I will point out about the picture that was confusing for me was you notice that the lifting eye is in the picture. What they've done here, and it took me a while to figure it out, was somebody has painted this engine nice and pretty red, and they this lifting eye is red from here to here, and then it stops being red and is silver from that point down. So I thought that this was just its own metal bracket, and I'm looking in the box for this little piece of metal. This is the lifting eye. This is the same eye. They just have it painted red from here up, and it stops being painted red right about there. So that was confusing to me, but that's okay. I figured it out. And so now it says the bolt for this is in bag 1. It's nice because so far this is in order, right? So there's a bag of bolts in bag 1. I pulled that out. There goes the 2-inch bolt, and then it asked for it says slide a 3/8 lock washer onto a 3/8 by 2 hex cap screw, which I take it they just mean a bolt, right? Insert this through the bottom hole of the new heat exchanger bracket, and then slide a 10D by 7/8 aluminum spacer on, so it will be between the heat exchanger bracket and a lifting eye. Now insert the hex cap screw through the bottom hole of the lifting eye and then into the original lower hole on the head. Loosely tighten for now. Okay, so here goes my head. There's the bottom bolt in the head. There's 2 7/8 spacers in there. There's 7/8 spacer. It's the same as that one there. So I'll put this one back in the bag for later use. There's only 3 spacers in the bag. We can see that this one is 2 7/8. So this is not the right spacer. This appears to be the right spacer. This appears to be a 2-inch bolt. I measured it, and it was a 2-inch bolt, and I have a lock washer on it, and it's through the lifting eye. So far I've followed all the directions. One thing I don't understand at this point is that it does say loosely tightened, so maybe we've got something else going on with it, but that's about as tight as that. I mean, and you can see that I still have a lot of slop there. So hopefully something else goes in there, because that's not getting any tighter, really. I mean, I could tighten it a little bit more, But you know, you don't want to bottom stuff out that's too long, because you can create more problems in water jackets and so on. So I'm just going to leave that like that for now, and we're going to move on to the next step. And hopefully, because there's no other real size there. There's a couple other 2-inchers in there, but then there's a bolt that's way too short for this. So they don't give me a bolt in between, unless they're talking about my original flange bolt. But even the original flange bolt for that was the short one. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna leave it like that for now, and assume that they know what they're doing. Number 4. So here goes. Yeah, that was in the box. Number 1 so far. We've worked out of the number 1 bag. These bolts were in number 1 bag, so that's where we've gone so far. Number 4. The other 3/8 2 hex cap screw will be assembled the same way. Picture. It will go in the upper hole, but you first slip the hex cap screw through the slotted hole in the right angle bend on the new fuel filter bracket. There's a new fuel filter bracket. So they are talking about this bracket. I take it this bracket is what they're saying goes away. Right? So it's got to go away because it's not going to fit in there anymore. So I'm going to take this bracket out, and this bracket's going to be, okay, so 9/16 is here. Okay. Another thing I like about this gear wrench set is they come with these ratcheting wrenches. That's a plus. You don't see that in kits often. At least I haven't. I really like that. Okay, I'll put this in the thing. Spin this around. Set this bracket aside. All right. The other 3/8 by 2 hex cap screw will be assembled the same way in the picture. Let's look at the second picture. So a couple of things about these directions is I wish they said figure number so and so, right? So you knew which figure number you were talking about, like a textbook. But that's all right, because here goes the next picture. And so they are talking about, here we go, 3/8 2 hex, 2-inch hex cap and screw, 7/8 spacer. And that's that one and that one. So 2 are identical. Here goes, well, where the heck is the lifting eye in that picture? Oh, there it is again. So here goes your lifting eye. This is more confusing to me, because now in this picture they've painted the complete lifting eye. So in this image, here goes, let me try to highlight that for you. There's the edge of the lifting eye as it comes up, and here goes the lifting eye here. Original lifting eye is red. I would like it if they left it black or left it silver or something so you could see it, but it is not apparent not as apparent as I would like it to be, but there it is. So there goes the original lifting eye straight against the head, coming up like this. Then you've got this piece. That doesn't look like anything else is going under it, so I'm still a little confused there, but I've got extra washers, so if I need to, I'll shove some washers under there. But this one has got this other bracket. What is this bracket? New fuel pump bracket. So let's take a look at what this says. This says, we're on number 4. The other 3/8 by 2 hex cap screw will be assembled the same way. Picture. It will, and I'm going to say that's the second picture, right? That's the second picture. It will go in the upper hole, but you first have to slip the hex cap screw through the slotted hole in the right angle bend of the new fuel filter bracket. Let's take a look for the new fuel filter bracket. There it looks like the new fuel filter bracket. This is in bag 4. Is that right? Let's take a quick look at the picture to see if this is the new fuel filter bracket. This looks like the new fuel filter bracket in bag 4. So I was giving Orca some kudos for going from bag 1. We're dealing with bag 1 first and then moving on to maybe bag 2. Nope, apparently we're going straight to bag 4 from here, which is, that's okay, just so we know what we're doing. So this guy goes here. That's why we had to take the bracket out. This whole bracket is, I mean, that's why we had to take the grommet out, because this is for the grommet. Interesting. So this whole bracket comes off. Not just that one piece, but this whole thing. All right, all right. Let's take the whole bracket off, shall we? Here's our 9/16. Wrong way. Loosen that a little bit. Come over the other side. Oh, you're not gonna get in there, are you? Son of a... Oh, I'm pouring fuel everywhere. Yep. Don't do that. Okay. One of those. Oh yeah. Come home, baby. Make this hole big enough. Oh yeah, there it goes. Kind of. There it is. All right. Should be smarter than the thing, but there we go. So I got that out. I'll set that aside over here for right this second. Wheesh. And then this, of course, this is all going to have to come apart. But what they want me to do with all this stuff, because this doesn't have any of the stuff for all my other bits and pieces there. So I'm a little unclear of what I'm supposed to do with all this other electronic gadgetry. All right. So another 2-inch bolt. Okay, so we're about to put this other 2-inch hex bolt in here. as you can see, 2 inches. I've got my 7/8 inch spacer and a lock washer. So that the spacer goes against the lifting eye. I wish that did snug up a little better. And then the new bracket with a, it doesn't say in the directions to use a lock washer here, but I'm going to use a lock washer anyway. I'm going to assume they mean a lock washer. And everything wants to be in the way. Get in your home. Too big for your home, apparently. If it was a flange bolt, it would help me, but it's not. Get all this stuff out of the way a little bit more. That feels like it's threading on. Okay. So. I'm just going to loosely tighten that down so everything still moves a little. Okay. So far, so what, right? Let's read the directions on number 4 again, just to make sure we followed all the directions. The other 3/8 by 2 hex cap screw will be assembled in the same way. Picture, second picture that is. It will go in the upper hole, but you first slip the hex cap screw through the slotted hole in the right angle bend on the new, okay, slotted hole. It is a slotted hole, okay, of the new fuel filter bracket. Now, through the vertical heat exchanger bracket, then the 7/8 spacer, and the upper hole and the lifting eye into the new head. Lightly tighten the hex cap screw to hold the new bracket level, pretty level. It's level-ish. Moving on. We're moving on to number 5. Okay, insert the saved rubber grommet into the top of the new bracket. Okay, get all this stuff out of my way. Old rubber grommet in the top of the new. There it is. Okay, here we go. You know what? Pause that for a second, please. Okay, so instead of putting a little hawk tail on this, which I was about to, so I'm going to use some silicone spray. And silicone is great because it doesn't deteriorate rubber. So unlike other lubricants that do affect rubber, this is going to keep the rubber kind of supple. And as I said, this is on its last leg, so I'm going to shove it in there, and then I'm going to take the part that's a little bit ripped, and I'm going to put it so it's not up against the sides, like, because this is slotted this way, So I'm going to make sure that it's going. And if I decide like later that the water pump is going to be pushed to one side or the other, I will rotate the ripped side to whatever is not up against the metal. So it's not ripped all the way through, but it is ripped to some extent. So yeah, that silicone was really nice in there. Now it moves around pretty well. Kind of refurbished that grommet to some extent. Okay, so let me write on there, silicone. Just put S there for later thing. So insert the rubber grommet into the top of the new bracket. The fuel pump / filter will be inserted from the bottom through the grommet. Picture. Oh, I guess we're talking about picture number 3, hopefully. Let's go to picture number 3. Yeah, I guess that's picture number 3. Okay. Okay, so right, so I was right to leave it this, you know, it's got to be at least that far assembled. Then, because that goes on there, okay, and then that goes through there, like so. This is in the way. I'm not going to get out of the way either. Yeah. That is no good. Why is it like that? I guess it turns, it spins on here. Alright, so it looks like this part spins in this bracket. Of course, it can't be the 22. This is why I hate engineers. If you're an engineer and you're watching this, slap yourself. None of these are right. Okay. 3/4. Let's go up to the 19 again. No, it's going to be a 20. It can't be a 22 because that would be too easy. Can't be a 19. We've used 19s a bunch on this thing. I've got to go now. I've got to go get a 20. I'll be right back. All right, guys and gals, anybody who's joining me with this, my lovely cinematographer has left for to do better stuff. We've been at this for a while and she's done with it. That's fine. So what it says on number 11 is trim the 1 1/4 Volvo 3589172 hose, maybe marked 3862650 to fit between the hose flush tee and the upper 1 1/4 fitting on the raw water pump. I may have made a mistake on the upper. Oh, maybe it's that one. Well, I'm cutting this one. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake. I should have read that a little better. These pictures are out of order too. As I get further into the pictures, guess what? It's a little there's pictures that I could have used before. So again, if there's any way that they could put figure number or so on this, that would be super helpful. But I'm just going in order, right? Like, the first time they mention picture must be the first picture. But now we're talking about thermostats further on in these pictures. So, I don't know if you can see this, but here we are looking at these pictures. And I'm just trying to go through the pictures to find the bottom of this thing, what the bottom looks like. And instead, I'm back at this piece here that I installed a million years ago. And, you know, why is it that we're back here? These pictures are out of order. So, you know, I would just pay attention to that. These directions, they seem like they want to be complete, but they're messing me up. So this hose, I don't know what the heck hose we're talking about. Is it this hose? If it is, where the hell does it go? Okay, folks, I think I figured it out. So, 11 is number 11 is confusing as hell to me because I don't read all the way through. Trim the 1/4 Volvo hose to fit between the hose flush T and the upper 1 1/4 inch fitting on a raw water pump. Now trim the 1 1/4 gates 21063 formed hose to connect to the lower raw water pump fitting to the heat exchanger. This is the raw water into the cooling system. So this is now the gates hose. As you see, I had to cut quite a lot of it off. It was quite a lot longer, and so that goes into there. That's that same gates formed hose. But they did give you the angle that you needed. What it says after that is, if your engine is not equipped with the engine flush T, 2002 engines and beyond, secure the raw water input hose to the raw water pump instead of using the 3589172 formed hose. Once these two hoses are connected to the raw water pump, you will install a heavy-duty dual tie strap to ensure they do not rub against each other. I don't think they're going to rub against each other anyway, but they want a dual strap dealio. I will attempt to use that. There's a picture of that back here that I saw. There it is there. So looks like it goes like that. This comes through here like this. That. There they are. Impossible to rub against each other. All right. Back to number 12. Check all the clamps and fasteners to make sure they are all secure. Use cable ties if necessary to hold these hoses away from moving parts. Fill the system with the max. Wait a second. What about this guy? What about that guy? Where do these go? Well, what the hell? Did I miss a step? Back up. All right, welcome back, YouTube. It's the next day, and I had to run last night, so I'm back on it today. I'm kind of in some spots where I'm not really sure where to go from here, but I'll update you what I've done in the meantime while you were gone. So what I did find is right down here on the, let's see if I've got enough light to show that. So right down here on that T that they were talking about, there's a connector, a rubberized connector right here that goes to that 1/4 bolt that goes into that. So I threw that on. That was easy enough. Then I had to get this plug out of the top of my water pump. Can we see that? So I got it out of the top of the water pump, was right here, and I put this in. I put some thread tape on it first, and then put this in. But boy, was this it was really hard to get it out. And I tried with, you know, it's just a 1/2 inch. It's just a 1/2 inch drive plug, right? So it goes on a 1/2 inch drive breaker bar. And I had this big breaker bar on there with a little bit of an extension, and I could not move it. So I was super glad I had this guy laying around. So 1/2 inch drive impact, and yeah, it was still, that impact still struggled with it. I was like, I sprayed it down with WD-40, let it sit there for a while, and I got back on it. And you know, you want to be really careful because the belts are right there. So I didn't hit it hard with this WD-40. I just went around it, got it in there, and let it soak, and still would not move. And man, I just got that 1/2 inch impact and just gave it the gumption, bah, 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 and it finally let go. So then I threaded this guy in here. This is a 27. So again, I'm glad I got some tools around. So a 27 millimeter fits that pretty nicely. Socket would have worked a little better, but yeah, that's 27. So all right, that's where I am right now. So I think I've discovered that this hose that was attached to the top of the thermostat housing before, on the top of it, you can see on the old thermostat housing, here goes this piece on the very top, and that's where that came off of. So I'm pretty sure that goes into the reservoir tank. I think into the bottom of the reservoir tank, right? So into this connector on the bottom of the reservoir tank. Pretty sure that goes like that. However, I really don't know what their plan was to put this reservoir tank anywhere. There's no directions in the directions for the reservoir tank, and you know, I'm just looking for a place to put it, but I'm a little bit at a loss right now. So anyway, when I figure it out, I'll let you guys know, and we'll be back. Thanks. Hey folks, all right, so I wanted to finish this video up. I wanted to finish it up last year when I got the thing done, but you know, we're talking about months later now, and this thing's been running flawlessly. So I've had it out in Puget Sound a couple of times now. It's working great. So I can tell you that I figured out all the issues that I was having troubles with and worked them out. So let me tell you where I left off last time and where I'm coming back to now. So there were some hoses I wasn't sure what the heck was going on with them. This guy here that comes in from the back, I don't know if you can see that really well. I hope so. I hope I'm showing you this one. This hose in the back goes to a fuel cooler. So it's coolant that runs through the fuel cooler, and so we need that. So I went to Home Depot. I built this T. So I built this T, and it's going into these hoses here. It's got a T going that way, and then it's neck down to fit this little guy going out here. And I would tell you all the sizes if I remembered them. This is 1 1/4 inch going to 3/4. And then I'm not sure what it goes all the way down to here, but whatever the size this hose is. But I had to build that guy myself. It barely fit in there, but I shoehorned it in there, and it's working fine. Then this hose goes to the coolant reservoir that comes around like this, goes back in there, and then you can see back in there goes the coolant reservoir. And I just built an aluminum L bracket that I screwed down to the deck, and then I just zip tied the top of it, drilled a couple holes in the top of it, and zip tied it. So there it is back there, out of the way. And it's also, you know, by some other maintenance items back there. So it's something that seems to be in place pretty nicely. That is the conclusion of this video. I'll go around it really quick to show you how the heat exchanger is in here. I've got the hoses attached the way they should be. Here goes the fuel pump that had to go in, and completely modified the old brackets. This is stuff that I wish that Orca Marine gave you some place to screw into, but they didn't. So I've got a couple of things that are just kind of loose and pushed back in there that I will eventually deal with. But right now, we're working, we're running, we're boating into Puget Sound, and you just can't get better than that. So it's like I said in the beginning of the video, this is a engine that's never tasted salt before in its life. It spent its time up on Georgian Bay in Ontario, Canada, and then after my dad passed, I went back east and trucked it back here from Ontario. So now it's in the Pacific Northwest, and we're using it on the Puget Sound and Wanapum by Vantage, and lakes out here, rivers. It's just a ton of fun to have it out here. It's a bit of my childhood that feels like home every time I get in it. And so that concludes this video. Please, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer every single one of them. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being forgiving of my horrible video skills. Take it easy.